It's a wonderful day, and we are in West Berbice, that's Region 5, at the Trafalgar Pump Station, where Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustapha, will be commissioning this pump station.
Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustapha, Regional Chairman Mr. Vic Chan Ramfo, all other officials of the Regional Executive Council of Region Number 5, members of the media, special invitees, audience all, good morning. And welcome to yet another milestone in the ongoing evolution of the drainage and irrigation system across the country. The commissioning of this vital drainage point along the West Coast Berbice coastline is another significant development. We'll hear more about how significant this pump station is to drainage and irrigation efficiency in Region 5 in the coming presentations. It also comes a few hours after the presentation of a $1.3 trillion budget, largest ever in our history, and that sets aside a huge chunk for the continued development and expansion of the local agriculture sector. There is much to learn during the course of this activity this morning. Heading up the NDIA is no stranger to any of us. Mr. Lionel Wordsworth has been there from the early days and has been outstanding in his leadership of the sector. And he's here again, guiding us forward in this whole issue of improvement of drainage and irrigation infrastructure across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Lionel Wordsworth, Chairman of the NDIA.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, colleagues at the head table, Regional Chairman, General Manager MMA, and staff of MMA, the RDC, and NDIA. Good morning, all. I am very pleased to be part of this ceremony this morning to witness yet again the commissioning of another important facility that serves not only agriculture but our dwelling along the coast here. Drainage service is very, very important, and it's important not only for the farmlands, as I said, but also any form of activity that we may conduct on the coast of Guyana. So this project here at Trafalgar is one that I have, since I've joined the work in the Ministry of Agriculture at NDIA, I've come to this facility, and there was always in existence 4 module for 4 pumps to operate at this site here, drainage pump. And there was never one time, as far as I could recollect, 20 years or more, where all 4 of the units was in a state of readiness whereby we could operate them. And so I recall we took a phase investment to resuscitate these pumps here. They're electrically driven pumps. And 2 of the pumps were commissioned maybe in 2009, 2010, thereabout, 2010. And also along that, the sluice to the extreme west of it also was somewhat not in a state of readiness too. So over the last few years, concerted efforts were made to resuscitate that sluice along with all 4 pumps at this site. And I'm pleased today that we're here to witness Not only the resuscitation and installation of a new 200 cusec pump, but also we have done work on all four of the pumps. So today represents the commissioning of one of the two 200 cusec pump, and we have also two 150 cusec. That will give a total discharge capacity of this site here of 700 cusec, accumulating to 314,182 gallons of water per minute. That's when all four of them will be in operation. And that would give significant drainage to the network in the MMA scheme, from the Barry going back to Rosignol here. So when the gates are closed during high tides, there can be continuous drainage taking place. A contract was awarded through public tendering for the rehabilitation work, and that went to General Engineering Service. It was awarded in 2022. Took some time, and it was actually ready in December, but we choose today's date to commission this pump. It was done at a cost of $191.4 million, and it involves a new pump unit, new electric motor, new panels, electric panels, discharge pipes, and also the procurement of a new 750 kV generator that's on site here. So we have independent power generation to run all four of the electrical pumps, and that's reliable supply of electricity so they can be used when the time needed. This project was supervised exclusively by NDIA. We didn't utilize the service of consultants, also with support from the MMA. Along with this major investment here at Trafalgar, I just want to share a little bit also in Region 5 very shortly in a matter of, I would say, week or maybe 2 to 3 weeks or so. We will commence work on a very, very important project that will serve drainage improvement, flood protection between the Abari-Mahaika block. And if one should have a little examine the main infrastructure in all the regions along the coast. Between the Berbice and Abari, there is a conservancy which offers flood protection for all the waters coming from the backland. In Region 4, we have the EDWC. Region 3, we have the Bursey. Region 2, we have the Tapakuma. And currently, we're doing the flood embankment in Region 6 from number 66 to Reed and Wrench Gap. So the only missing link along the coast here is between Abari and Maikoni. And we have already concluded engineering designs and work. We have tenders were out, contracts are in place now, whereby we'll be constructing flood embankment from the Mahaika to the Maikoni, then from Maikoni all the way at the back of Blaymon. These are flood protection that will now give proper drainage to thousands of acres of farmland. And I'm very happy to be part of that project, and of course with collaboration with MMA, the RDC, and farmers and stakeholders. Some of you may recall we had a number of consultations on these projects here in Region 5 for the flood embankment, and it's commonly known as the Hope Light Canals. So these works will commence shortly and will complement all the other drainage works we're doing here in region number 5. Yes, so this would bring tremendous improvement, and not only for drainage, we will also be able to improve irrigation supplies in a more systematic way between the Maikoni and Abari block when that project is completed. Thank you very much.
All right, so We'll now invite Mr. Vicchen Ramphal, the regional chairman for this region. He will be offering a few remarks.
Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Zulfikar Mustapha, Mr. Lionel Wordsworth, Chairman NDIE, Dr. Waldron, Mr. Kuldip. We have also Mr. Jagnarein there, and staff of MMA, GM, Vice Chairman, Regional Councillors, Commander of Police, farmers, ladies and gentlemen. I must say I'm very happy to be part of this commissioning ceremony of the Trafalgar Pump Station, one which is very important to the agriculture sector in region number 5. Knowing that in this part of the region, we have the majority of rice being cultivated. And Region 5 is the largest agriculture producing region in Guyana. The investment in agriculture here has been a great one, and we have seen over the past years our government putting in the necessary infrastructure and resources to ensure that this industry remain sustainable. We have seen a number of projects executed across Region 5, whereby more and more farmers are coming on board, and we have seen an increase in production across the region. Not only here in this part of Region 5, but also within the Mahaika-Maikoni block. And while we are here for the commissioning of this pump station, there is a pump station that is being under construction in the Cottage Maikoni area, which will benefit hundreds of farmers within that block. So, farmers, there is a lot that is happening in our region. We have seen great improvement. And this is because of the visionary leadership that we have at the Ministry of Agriculture. Our Honorable Minister, on numerous occasions, would have been in this region, meeting with the farmers and to listen to their concerns so we can arrive at projects or identify projects that will benefit our farmers here. And I want to tell you that Minister has been in this region maybe over 100 visits. And not so long ago, we would have had an unfortunate experience in the Maikoni area, whereby one of the structure there had collapsed, causing minor flooding in some areas. And the Honorable Minister was there in Calcutta, Maikoni, Dundee area until 11:30 that night, ensuring that the situation is being addressed in a timely manner. And on that very night, he instructed us to go and meet with the people to evaluate the losses, and the next day, necessary assistance was brought to the people of Maikoni, of that area where they were affected. So that is how our leaders are operating to ensure that our farmers and our people are comfortable. And I must also acknowledge the great contribution of the chairman of NDIE, who is the architect behind most of these projects when it comes to drainage and irrigation within region number 5. And Mr. Westworth also has been on the ground meeting with our farmers and to work out possible solution. And collectively, we have seen great improvement in drainage, with drainage and irrigation in region number 5. So ladies and gentlemen, I must say that I am happy, I am satisfied with what the government is doing for our farmers and people of this region. I want to say thank you, Minister, to you and your team, and not only in DNI, but also all the areas within agriculture in this region. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Drainage and irrigation affects all aspects of agriculture, and of course, livestock in Region 5 is a big deal. I remember President Dr. Finale describing Region 5 as the livestock capital, not only for Guyana, but soon it'll be the capital, the livestock capital of the region. At this point, I'd like to invite to the podium the CEO acting of GLDA, Dr. Dwight Trafalgar.
Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Regional Chair, Heads of Department, Commander Kingston, Vice Chair MMA, farmers all, good morning. This morning I am more than elated to be able to stand here and not just to say thanks, but to say or express how happy I am because of this strategic investment. And I want to stress on the word strategic, because this is not something that happened overnight and where it was more reactive in nature. This was well thought out because of the need to have these investments within the region. So, Minister, I would like to say on behalf of the livestock farmers, and please forgive me for being biased, but that's the sector which I oversee, so I have to be biased where that is concerned. Because livestock, as the chair just mentioned, for Region 5, for those of you who are not aware, Region 5 has the largest population of livestock in the country, more specific, ruminant, we're more specific in terms of numbers, that is large and small ruminants. We know of the West Berbice Sheep and Goat Association, and we have a rep even on our board from the region looking over the interests of you guys. Why Region 5 is important also, we would have had a number of strategic investments in the region which was geared towards livestock production and also to bring money to you, the farmers. We have not far from here the milk plant. We have soon to commission the abattoir. We have a number of pasture projects. We have a 65-acre plot which will be in operation pretty soon, and some other projects which the chairman would have alluded to earlier. Why I'm mentioning those is because there's a very close correlation between what is happening here with this pump and those projects. For if you look back at the last 4 years, dairy production has been taken tremendous hit from the harsh weather conditions that we've been experiencing. And thanks to the interventions from the MMA and NDIA, we were able to weather this storm to an extent. And if you look at the trajectory of our production in dairy, you will see that we're gaining substantially from those investments. Additionally, beef is one of the price commodity emanating out of Region 5. And also, when you look at the data, and that is important to note, our decisions are not being made by somebody meeting the minister at the head of the road and say, well, we need X or Y. No, it's data driven. And when we look at the mortality of calves within the Abari Basin due to excess moisture, due to flood, again, I'm bringing those points to you for you to see the close correlation between the pump and having those issues addressed. One of the questions that will be posed is, how impactful will this be to the livestock sector moving forward? Those of you who would have listened to the budget speech yesterday will have the answer. Apart from that, we were charged a few years ago by His Excellency to ensure that efficiency be the key word in whatever we do, to ensure that our farmers are in a position to make money, to gain a livelihood out of whatever they're doing. And only a few minutes ago, I was in conversation with one such farmer who would have benefited from some of our interventions, and he is satisfied to the point where he wants now to move on to another level to ensure that other farmers are given an opportunity to benefit. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, I just want to, on behalf of the livestock farmers, the chairman of the GLDA and the other board of directors, we want to say thanks to Minister, NDIA, MMA for this facility, and you can rest assured the livestock farmers will be more than happy, because I know a lot of persons will say the rice farmers are the ones to benefit, but I can tell you, when you look at dollar value, our livestock farmers are the ones that will be the prime beneficiaries from this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'd now like to invite a cultural presentation by a youngster, Suchan Singh. He's going to be doing a poem for us.
With buzzing bees and birds inside. As the season, he waters his crops and pulls out the weeds, caring for nature and fulfilling its needs. As the seasons change from wet to dry, harvest time comes, the best time of all. With baskets full and smiles so wide, for a farmer's hard work help to keep the magic of agriculture alive. Thank you.
One of the most outstanding livestock farmer in West Berbice is a young lady who is very active in organizations that represent the interests of livestock farmers across the region. Ms. Gopal has been an executive of the Sheep and Goat Association over here, and has been very proactive in getting benefits for the members of our organization. And so it is only fitting that I invite her at this time to offer a few remarks on behalf of the livestock farmers of Region 5.
Honorable Minister Zulfikar Mustapha, members of the head table, farmers, special invitees, a pleasant good morning. My name is Deborah Gopal. I would like to, on behalf of the farmers, say a special thank you to Minister for this venture. We want to assure you that we will take good care of it as farmers. And as Dr. Waldron rightly said, cattle farmers, the livestock farmers, they are the person who would have the benefit. And I can attest to that because recently we used to have flood in the area. And when we have flood in the areas, our animal tend to have different form of sickness and whatsoever. And because of dry weather, the animal will do better and we would have more increase in our production. And so I am very much grateful, and as farmers we want to say thank you, and I know that this is just a starting for us as farmers. There are more benefits to come. Thank you.
We'll now have some African drumming, another cultural presentation before we go on to the feature address.
project that we are commissioning this morning symbolizes the PPP civic government's commitment to the farmers and communities who rely heavily on a well-functioned drainage and irrigation system for their livelihood. You will agree with me that regions number 5, especially this part of the region, as Lionel rightly said, or the entire region 5, is our main agricultural area in this country. The MMA scheme, the Mahaica-Myconia-Bari Development Scheme, as I said, is one of the main agricultural area, and Dr. Waldron would have highlighted some of the projects that we have commenced and we have completed over the last 4 years. But prior to that, we have seen massive works being executed in Region 5. This area comprises approximately this rice crop, the first crop of 2025. For the first time in the longest while, I don't know when was the last, we cultivate or will be cultivating 100,000 acres of rice. That will be a record-breaking cultivation, 100,000 acres. Leaving out, Dr. Waldron talked about the livestock area. And then we have the cash crop production. Also, there's a big or large areas in this region 5 that comprises also cane cultivation. So you could see how important this area, region number 5, is to the country's development in providing food security, not only for region 5, not only for the country, but the region. The president was here not so long ago, and he declared this area, he declared region number 5, the livestock capital of the Caribbean. That tells us how important your region is to our country's development and further afield. Today, as we are commissioning this facility, and we heard the technical background from the chairman saying about how much gallons of water this pump will pump per second and minute, and the drainage capacity and the impact it will make in enhancing your life, enhancing the development of this region. I want to reiterate those points because what we are doing now in this country, we are building a comprehensive drainage system. We are not only modernizing the drainage system, but we are building a comprehensive drainage system so that we can make these facilities more in line of what we want to do, a vision that our government has. I can remember when I became Minister of Agriculture just over 4 years ago in August of 2020. My immediate task, because I came to this region, the first area I visited upon my assumption to office as Minister of Agriculture was region number 5. I can remember sworn in on a Friday, and I was here on a Saturday, listening to the farmers and hear what were their concerns. And I remember the burning concern at that time was drainage and irrigation. We didn't have a budget in 2020 at that time, but we had to commence work immediately to clear hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers of canals, rods of canals in this MMA scheme. And I remember going to the president with a request for $90 million. $90 million, the first expenditure I went to the president with, and he granted it, and we were able to clear thousands of rods of canal and fix the dams. And it's interesting and important that we remember these things, because those canals became clogged up and the dams became dilapidated against the background when the former government would have increased D&I and land rental charges from $3,500 to $15,000. Y'all remember that? Let me hear you. Good. When we were in opposition, we took a motion to the parliament asking them to reverse it. We had a debate in the parliament. I can remember I spoke on the bill. And we show all the reasons why they should reverse that draconian measure that they had implemented at that time. And at the end of the debate, when the matter was put to a vote, they voted down the motion with a one-seat majority. And there and then, the leader of the opposition at that time, now our vice president, said that when we go back into government, because we were confident that we will get back into government, and when we go back into government, we will reverse that measure. And we went into government. We went into government in August of 2020, and in October of 2020, we took a motion to the parliament, and we reversed that decision of D&I charges and land rental from $15,000 back to $3,500. You know what that cost? That caused the farmers in this region number 5 to save in their pocket $1.6 billion. That was the kind of measures that we put in place. $1.6 billion saved the farmers here. Many farmers came out of the rice cultivation. They were unable to pay the rent. They were unable to service the D&I charges and the land rental. As a result of that, we saw a decline in production. We saw a decline in production. So now you will see all kind of commitment and promises people will come and make. Last night, as the chairman, Mr. Holder, would have said, that only yesterday we saw the presentation of the largest budget in the history of our country. A budget that has measures for every single Guyanese, every group, every strata, every single villages in this country. We will see development. A budget that will see where the disposable income of the small and ordinary men become more, or they will have more in their pockets to spend. And I can go through the measures in this year's budget. We have seen the growth. And I want to put this against the background of people when they talk about growth and they talk about the fastest growing economy in the world, everything they are alluding to oil and gas. Yes, oil and gas is important for us. Oil and gas is bringing in large revenue for us to modernize the other sectors. But when you have 43% growth in the country's GDP, and out of that 43%, you have 13% coming from the non-oil sector. And besides that, you have 11% coming from the agriculture sector. That tells us something, that agriculture is alive and agriculture is moving forward. Agriculture, before, and many of you all will know, when we started out in 2020, Guyana had lost its place in CARICOM. From the inception, from 1973, when CARICOM was formed, Guyana always has responsibility for agriculture. All the presidents, from President Forbes Burnham right on to President Ramotar, had responsibility for agriculture. But we lost that place from 2015 to 2020. Our place was taken up by St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When I became Minister of Agriculture, CARICOM wanted to craft a food strategy. And when I thought we will lead it, they said, no, St. Vincent, the Minister of Agriculture from St. Vincent will be the chair of that committee. Because we allowed our players, we de-emphasized, the government of the day de-emphasized agriculture. So much so that they say rice growing activity was a private business. You all remember that? They lost the most lucrative market, the Venezuelan, the Petrocaribbean market in Venezuela. They lost the market in Panama. They never represent the farmers and millers to get them money from Panama, $1.7 billion. All those things happen in the agriculture sector. And today when you hear them, so they love agriculture. But they never had a plan. They never had a plan, and I can be here. I can stand on this podium without looking at any notes and talk to you for hours and tell you our achievement, tell you our vision, and tell you what we have in plan for the agriculture sector to move Guyana forward, to make Guyana more food secure, and make Guyana one of the capital for food security. Because why? We know what we are doing. We are not only investing in one, two area and say that is agriculture. And I will tell you just now, Dr. Waldron talked about the abattoir. He talked about the dairy plant. He talked about a number of projects that we started out, the Black Belly Sheep project here. And last night I heard the opposition leader was talking about Black Belly Sheep. Well, I have news for him. When I will be speaking, debating the budget in the National Assembly, I will give him the information. Over 200-300 farmers already benefit from that program, the Black Belly Sheep program. We have increased the amount that we collected from Barbados from 1,000 to almost 2,000 now. We are slowly building that brand to replace the New Zealand lamb and the Australian lamb to this part of the world. We are working very closely with Barbados, and I am very optimistic that this area, regions number 5, will be the area to produce that brand to make Guyana proud and the Caribbean proud. So when I talk about agriculture, they must come with facts. I am talking about facts here. I am telling you, I am not just telling you that making up stories, I am telling you reality. What is happening? We are constructing a number of high-level canals in this country. We already started in Region 6, 2 high-level canals, one at numbers 51, 52, another at Manchester, Lancaster area. We are doing the embankment from number 66 to Binshap, as Lionel rightly said. We are doing working here from Mahaica to Abari. And we'll see a number of Hope-like canals, high-level canals also. Whilst we are building this pump station here at Trafalgar, we are now building one, and it's about 75% completed at Cottage. All those will be in the integrated, comprehensive DNI system that we are building. But that is not all. In every single region, 2 weeks ago I was in region number 2, commissioning the pump station at Andrews. I already commissioned one at another place in Essequibo, the one in Cozier in Essequibo. I commissioned one at Adventure and the Quarantine. I commissioned 2 in region number 3. We have another 2 that this same contractor is working on. One World Bank project at $1 million. I'm hoping by next week we can commission that. And the other one at Montrose. We will be commissioning another one there. So you could see the amount of work that we are doing. Leaving out when I became Minister of Agriculture, this scheme here had, I believe, 2 or 3 dilapidated machines. None. The general manager is saying no. Now they have a fleet. They have a fleet of machinery that we give this scheme. We'll reduce land rental and DNI charges. We're making more input to the farmers. We are giving them more input, more subsidies. Last year we gave them fertilizer. This year again, $2 billion is earmarked for fertilizer to the farmers. Very shortly the tenders are out in the newspaper to get those fertilizer. And when you look at the investment in region number 5, when you look at the investment in region number 5, we expended almost $1.5 billion in DNI alone, leaving out the other sectors. Livestock, rice, cash crop, you tell me. We give 40 mobile pumps to the NDCs, tractor-driven pumps, to the NDCs in these areas. So you could see tremendous work is going on. Now, we have seen last year the agriculture sector receive an allocation of $96.7 billion. In yesterday's presentation in the Parliament, we have seen $104.6 billion being allocated to the agriculture sector once again. We have seen a 6% increase. Rice, sugar, other crops, other value chain, livestock, fisheries, and DNIs. Those are the various sectors, including MMA, $104.6 billion. DNI alone is allocated $73.2 billion. Besides sugar, that contracted by 21%, all the other sectors grew and grew tremendously. That is why we were able to accomplish an 11% growth in agriculture. So, comrades, the agriculture sector is moving apace. Today is another example what our plans are for this important sector. We are not only expanding on the traditional areas like rice, fruits and vegetables, or cash crop. We are going to new areas. We are bringing in new beneficiaries into this sector. There are a number of young people today who are involved in this sector. We have created a pharma company called the Agriculture Innovation Entrepreneurship Program that the President formed. We have targeted a number of young graduates from the Guyana School of Agriculture, the University of Guyana, and over the last 4 years, we have built over 600 shade houses across the country. In 2021, we imported $2.6 billion in high-value crops. Now, we have earmarked the young people to get involved in those crops. We are now producing that for the hospitality industry, for the oil and gas industry, and importation has decreased tremendously. Since 2020, we have started the production and cultivation of corn and soya. You know, we have been importing every year almost 40 million US dollars in these two important commodities. We want to be self-sufficient, and we made a commitment when we started government in 2020 that by the first 5-year term, we must be self-sufficient in producing all our corn and soya needs. We had discussion with the Poultry Farmers Association, and we are working on a private-public partnership where we have developed thousands of acres of land in the Tacoma Savannah. We have built hundreds of kilometers of roads. We have built silos and increased the silos capacity to 18,000 tons. We are now building a conveyor system from the silos so that we can transport it directly to the ship. And we are building a wharf. By the end of this year, we are hoping that we can produce 25,000 acres of corn and soya. And by the end of the 2 crops of 2025, we are hoping to become self-sufficient. We can save 40 million US dollars. That can go into the other sector, and we will be self-sufficient in producing all our livestock feed so that we can bring down the cost of production. That's the kind of vision we're looking at. And we are not only going to crops and livestock, we are developing these areas, but we are going to new forms of production. We are working with the shrimp farmers in Region 6, and eventually we are bringing it now to Region 5. The brackish water shrimps. We have started out, when we started out, they were doing subsistence farming in Region 6. They were producing just around 10,000 kilograms monthly. We have started to work with them. We have developed over 80% or 85% of the farm. Today, they are producing 120,000 kilograms monthly. For the last year, 2024, we have produced 1.2 million kilograms of shrimp coming out of Region 6. And that will increase. And that industry would have earned $1.8 billion. That went back into the pockets of the farmers, of the shrimp farmer in Region 6 in the village economy. We have started the production of prawns right here over there. We have already started harvesting the prawns. The prawns is being sold to different agencies in Georgetown. We are hoping to be an exporter of prawns. As I'm speaking now, we are building our own feed mill. We are building our own hatchery so that we can produce our own larvae rather than to import it from Miami, United States. We will produce our own feed. And we'll expand production here. We'll build another 24 to 40 ponds around this area. And we have a number of private individuals who have expressed interest in going into prawns production. We have developed over 100 landing sites. When we finish here, we go into the Edwards, where when the president went to the Edwards, the fisher folks requested that they need a wharf, they need shed, they need proper landing site, they need tarmac. He made a commitment. Today we have delivered that commitment, and we are going there this afternoon to commission the commitment, the promises that His Excellency would have made a few months ago. It's reality today at the Fisherman's Wharf at the Edwards. That is the kind of philosophy we have, the PPP civic government. For the first time in the history of this country, we have seen a government have delivered on every single commitment before its first term concludes. Things that we are doing now are new things. And I can go on and list in the other sectors, in the health sector, education, housing, water, you name it. And when you look at the budget, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. And what we said we'll be doing, We have finally put every single thing this year. Come this year, those who will be attending university tuition fee have been abolished. You'll have free university education once again in there. We said we will, the first term, we will double old age pension. Well, at the end of January, when the pensioners collect their books, the first month this year, they'll get $41,000. That's double the old age pension. We have increased public assistance to $22,000. When we were in opposition and the AP and UFC went into government, you all remember they stopped the school cash grant. We said we will not only restore it, we'll increase it. And this year, finally, every child attend private or public school will receive $55,000 from the government of Guyana. $50,000 cash grant, $5,000 uniform voucher. We have even extended another grant to young people who would have had or who will be having their first child, giving them $100,000 so they can start life with that. So you see the government will pay you now to make children. And when you get your children and go to school, they'll pay you also for your children to go to school. That is the kind of philosophy this government has. And then the opposition is talking that people are suffering in this country. No, these are reality. And we must talk about these things. You know, we must talk about these things or else nobody will say it. We have a $10,000 health voucher where we can go and have our medical check. The school children and pensioners can go and get free voucher for spectacles and eye tests. The women can have vouchers to go and get free screening, cervical cancer screening. These are all the benefits that we are talking about. Over $90 billion in this year's budget are going to the benefit people directly in getting these cash grants and getting these cash benefits. That is the kind of development we're talking about. So comrades, friends, I am happy to be here this morning to commission this pump. This is another commitment we have made. This is another promise being fulfilled. And rest assured that for the first term you are seeing all this development. After this year's election, the PPP Civic will once again be in government and we will continue the transformation of this country. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, we the farmers for Region 5 thank you and the PPC government for your commitment and development towards our region. Over the past years, we would have noticed major development within this region, and this is coming from the cash crop, kitchen garden, livestock farmers. The PPC government have never failed on its promise. We have been getting tremendous development when it comes to production. We are getting development when it comes to fertilizers. And there have been constant development every year to assist us as farmers within this region. We are having materials to build our pens. We are having production stuff. So these are major development that your government and your commitment has given to us. And one of our greatest things that we are very thankful for is the reduction of the MMA fees. Because when those fees were risen, it made tremendous burdens on this region. And we are very thankful that those fees now are reduced to what it was once before, so we can continue and earn more for us. We have also seen an increase in the paddy production from 4,000 bags per acre to 30,000 bags per acre per crop. 4,000 bags per crop to 30,000 bags per crop, sorry. And the maintenance of 740 miles of channels per month, along with 650 miles of channels across the drains. farmers' livestock is maintained because of this caring government and its investment towards its people. The agriculture production has always been going upwards. When we look back from the previous administration from 2015 to 2020, they would have only invested $1.6 billion in this sector. But we would have seen the PPC government invested over $6.3 billion, which is what this caring government and the commitment towards agriculture means. In closing, we want to thank you very much for delivering on all your promises towards the farmers of this region and the people of Guyana. Thank you.